How you guys doing? Eugene Johnson, founder of Make Your Mind an Asset. In today's episode, we're gonna ask the question, are you going to win in 2017? It was December 1st, 2012. I'll never forget the day. Getting ready to go into the new year. And I just remember sitting there and thinking, there's no way I can go into this next year being in the same position I am in this year. I don't know if you've ever been there, just frustrated with life, wondering like, when is it gonna happen for me? Just depressed and trying to figure out what the next step is in life, because this is not working. You know, praying and just asking God, when is it going to be my turn? And I remember getting on my knees that day and praying and asking that same prayer. I was broken, I was depressed, and I was broke trying to figure it all out. And I've had some success in the past, but businesses started to slow down, and I was dealing with a lot emotionally at that time. I had lost 11 people in the span of 12 months. Friends and family members, and my whole life felt like it was crumbling. And then at that moment I found out that I was gonna be a father, and then I went into a deeper depression because I'm like, man, I'm barely able to survive myself, and now I have to take care of a family. And I didn't know what to do. And I was beyond nervous, I was scared, I was frightened. I was searching and trying to find what my next move was gonna be. And I just remember that December 1st saying to myself, this will not be another year that I say next year. But I know I needed to do something. I mean, I needed to support a family now. And they say there's two types of motivation, either fear of loss or anticipation of gain. Well, at that time, I was motivated by fear of loss. My back was up against the wall, and my wife JoJo was very uncomfortable and very stressed about where we were at the time. And we both were just not ready or prepared or even was planning to have a child. And you know, so it was a tough situation. And sometimes God puts tough situations even when you're not ready to propel you to your promise. But that's a whole nother scenario. This is the reason why we named our child Nathaniel. It means God's gift, to remind us that even though it was a tough situation, even though we weren't prepared, he was still a gift from God. And I remember sitting down with JoJo, and she was feeling scared and she was feeling uncomfortable about where we were at that moment. And I remember she told me 4 words that would eventually change my life. She said, I don't feel safe. And to me, as a man, to not be able to provide that safety for your family, for the people that you love and care about, I mean, it broke me inside. I mean, seriously, it really brought me to a place of introspection where I had to ask myself, is this what you've been preparing your life for? Is this what you've been working so hard for? To be in a position where you can't even support your family the way you want to? I mean, that burned me to my core, I mean, that burned me to my core. And I told her, I said, look, tell me everything that you would need right now that would make you feel safe. Give me a list of everything. And she started talking, and I started writing it down. And she said, first we need a reliable car. And at that moment, I was borrowing a friend of mine's dad's car, Daniel Blanco. Tell your dad I said thank you. I was borrowing a friend of mine's dad's car, and I was parking it way away because that thing was beat up. You know, I love you guys, but that thing was beat up. And I didn't want anybody to see me driving that thing at that moment in my life, because I had some success in the past and had lost a lot. And so I was trying to figure out the next step, and I was like, man, this is definitely a step backwards. So she was like, first we need a reliable car, then we need a bigger home. We were staying in about 600 square feet. I mean, this room basically that we were staying in. We need a bigger home. She's like, man, I don't even have a ring. And that one was like, oh, Eugene, you didn't even have a ring for her. Come on now, step your game up. So that was the thing that really turned me on. That was the thing that got me excited about going into the next year. And like I said, it was December 1st, 2012. We're going into 2013, and I told her, I said, I promise you, by the end of 2013, our life will be completely different. I promise you. I will turn that list into a reality. And it was just a promise. Now to her, she was just thinking, oh, he's just talking. It's still gonna be the same way. But I changed. My mindset changed. I had the years that had spent growing and becoming and going after success. I just condensed it all in that 12-month period of time. And I went ham. I went crazy in that year to make sure that every single thing, or almost every single thing, was done on that list. So now that I made this promise, I went searching. I said, all right, what can I do to make sure that I hit these goals? And so I went to some of my old journals back in 2005, and I opened up the book from some notes from one of my first mentors, Paul J. Meyer. And as I was reading it, I stopped to a section where he was talking about goal setting. And I'm thinking, man, I already know this. But the problem was I wasn't living it. So this is something that he taught me. One of my first mentors taught me. At that time, it was 2005 when he had taught me this. So 7 years later, I have to go back and open the book. They say knowledge is power, and then they say, no, applied knowledge is the power. And I hadn't applied this knowledge, which is case in point that a lot of times we're looking for the greatness outside, but most of the time the greatness has already been deposited in us. And all we need to do is go pull from it. And so for me, I had to go back to an old notebook. I opened this notebook and I realized, man, Paul J. Meyer never missed a goal in his life. Like, never. I mean, he set goals to be a tennis champion in his elderly years. I mean, he set goals to be the #1 insurance agent. I mean, he set some incredibly crazy goals and never missed it. And he laid out the formula to exactly why that was the case. Why do we set goals and never miss it? And if you are like me, you know we've set goals a lot. And a lot of times they went by and we've never achieved them. And so I went back and I looked at it and I'm like, man, I knew this back in 2005. Why haven't I been implementing it? So that day I decided that I was going to implement this in 2013. And so I took those lessons that I learned in that journal, and I'm going to share some of those principles. Obviously, I'm not going to have the time to go into all of them because that was like a 3, 4, 5 hour training. And I'll teach some of those principles here. And all my other ones, you can learn that in my course, Make Your Mind an Asset, that's coming out next month, where I go into the deep dives of a lot of the stuff that he was teaching. But today I'll teach some of the principles, but I took those principles and I started to apply them in 2013. I made this big dream board, and I'll pop it up the image somewhere over here. And I made this big dream board and I placed the images of what I wanted to achieve and all of the things that I wanted to do. There's about 20 things on this dream board. And I remember looking at it and I'm saying, this is my year to achieve this dream board. And out of the things on that list, I think it was about 20. Out of the 20 things on that list, I think I achieved about 15 or 16, 75 to 80% of that list I achieved. Now, this is crazy to me because I had set goals in my life a lot of times and never achieved it and wondered what was going on. But this year, there was something different. Something shifted, and I'll talk about what shifted. But I put those principles in place in 2013. I went after the success in that dream board, and my life was never the same. I mean, I went from barely surviving myself to going to a multiple 6-figure income, multiple streams of income. I went from having a car that I borrow, a beat up car that I borrowed from my friend's dad, and then went from buying my first luxury car. Now I've bought 3 different luxury cars since then. But more importantly, I was able to achieve all of the things on her list. And we already talked about the car, but was able to move us into our first home, was able to get her that ring, 2-carat diamond cut ring, hand set diamonds on the band. I mean, it was nice. And I'm excited about it, and I'm not saying it to brag, but I'm saying it to say that my wife told me, she said, I don't even feel safe. And to me, that burned inside of my core, and I said, never again. This year is going to be the year for me. And my question to you is, will this year, are you going to win in 2017? Is this next year going to be your greatest year? So what is all of this? The plan moving into 2017. All it is New Year's resolutions. I decided that this year is going to be different than last year. This is the New Year's resolution. And I know the ancient way of thinking is that New Year's resolutions don't work. Nobody ever achieves it. Nobody ever has success doing New Year's resolutions. So don't do it. That's the way people think. That's the mindset. That's a myth. That's something that you need to get rid of. You know what the new way of thinking is? The current mindset of that is? Do them. Set New Year's resolutions. Don't listen to anybody else. Those are people who don't achieve goals. They're telling you don't set it because they don't know how to achieve it. So they don't set it because they are afraid Or they are tired of failing, and because they don't want to face themselves and their failures, they decided, I'd just rather not set it, because if I set it, I ain't gonna do it anyway because I don't know what to do to make it happen. And that's why I'm doing this video right now, because I want you to win in 2017. So don't listen to the myths that you shouldn't set it. You need to set it. And the truth behind why they set it is because they haven't seen results. And they haven't seen results because they haven't had a plan. Look, how are you gonna go into 2017 and say, I want to lose more weight, but eat at the same restaurants you ate in 2016? How are you going to go into 2017 and say, I'm going to spend less and save more, but not go into with a plan and habits that shifted so that that can happen? How are you going to go into 2017 saying that I'm going to earn more money, but go to the same job and never open up other opportunities to have multiple streams of income? How are you going to go into 2017 saying that I'm going to find love, but yet you won't leave out of your house? How are you going to go into 2017 saying that you're going to quit smoking, but you still hang out with the smokers? Come on now, be serious. This is the reason why people are not achieving New Year's resolutions, is because they're setting these outlandish goals and they're saying they want to do these things and these things and these things, and they don't have a plan to get it done. And so I'm going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about a plan to get that done. I'm talking about 7 things that you need to do to master, absolutely master New Year's resolutions. So here's the first thing you need to do. You need to decide. That's what happened with me. The minute she said, I don't feel safe, those 4 words forced me to say, you know what? I need to decide. This will not be the same. Next year will not be like last year. I will not go into the end of the next year giving excuses on why I didn't achieve the goals that I said that I would achieve. Not me, not this time. I decided that this was going to be the change that I was looking for. You got to make that decision internally. That's an internal thing. And you know that you've made a decision. Here's how you know you made a decision, because a lot of people say, well, I decided. All right, did you really? Here's how you know you've made a decision. When you act on it immediately, that's when you know the decision has been made. Other than that, you haven't made a decision. If you say, oh, I'm gonna lose weight and it's Wednesday, I'll wait till Monday, you ain't make a decision to lose weight. All you did was say it, made yourself feel good, knowing that it's not gonna happen. If action doesn't follow a decision, then you didn't make a decision that was a wish. But once you decide, you can move mountains. Once you decide, you can change the game in your life. Once you decide, you can move into a place that you never miss a goal when you decide. But until you decide, you'll always be where you've been. And if where you've been is not where you want to be, then you might want to decide on where you want to go. The second thing is you need to write it. Here's the thing I hear people say all of the time. Yeah, I've decided. I know exactly what I want to do. Okay, show me where it's at. Oh, I haven't written it down. So you plan on having success without a blueprint. Okay, now tell me how this is not crazy. If you went to your pilot and your pilot said, hey, we are going to fly to China in this plane, and you asked the pilot, okay, do you have a map of where you want to go and a flight plan? Nope, no flight plan. We're going to wing it. Maybe we'll get there. Maybe we'll get there in 24 hours. Maybe we'll get there in 16. Maybe we'll get there in 48. We'll see. We're just going to wing it. If an architect said, I'm going to build this amazing structure, the biggest structure, the most beautiful structure in the city that you live in, and you said, awesome, let me see your blueprints. Oh, I don't have blueprints. Nope, no blueprints. I'm just going to look at the land and make it up as I go. Or you're a business person and they ask you, hey, what's your business plan? Oh, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to do any business plan. I'm not going to plan anything out. And I'm not going to figure out how I'm going to operate. I'm not going to figure out how I'm going to pay people out. I'm not going to. That will come. I'll just wing it. See, it sounds silly everywhere else. Yet people do it with their goals all the time. Every single day, people are saying, I set my goals, but they don't set up and write it down, figure out exactly what they want, lay it out point for point. That's your blueprint to success. Goals are your blueprint to success. And if you don't have your blueprint, then you are lost in the architecture of the design of your life. So you cannot not write it down. The third thing is narrow your list. When I learned this, see, in 2013, I didn't apply this one thing, which is narrowing your list. Now, what do I mean by narrowing your list? In 2013, I went for 20 goals. Now, because I was running like a maniac with my hair on fire to make sure I hit all of those goals, that was great, but it's not sustainable. You can't have 20, 30 goals every single year, and that's what most people do. I did it a lot of years where I had 75 different goals on a list of paper saying, oh, I want to hit this, I want to hit this, I want to hit this, I want to hit this. How can you manually, in your mind, think about the amount of work that it takes to achieve one goal, and then multiply that by 75, and you plan on going into the next year more successful than the last, when you got all of these things that you need to hit, and every time you don't hit something, guess what? You fail. Now, failing is not a bad thing, but failure on top of failure on top of failure on top of failure builds a mindset of losing. And you can't win with a mindset of losing. You can only win with a mindset of winning. So you've got to take the time to win. And you can't win if you got this entire big list. What you should do, this is what you absolutely should do. Ask yourself, where do you want to be in 5 years? Then tell yourself, what do you need to do this year, 2017? What do you need to do in 2017 to get you closer to where you want to be in 2021? What are 2 or 3 things? 1, 2, or 3 things. Don't go over 3. But at least 1 or 2 things on what those things are, that if you did this one thing, it would impact all of the areas of your life and help you move in the direction that you want to be in 5 years from now. You've got to narrow down that list. You've got to get super focused, laser focused on exactly what you need to do. That's the reason why they put the blinders on the horse. They don't want them to focus over here. They want them to be direct in line, going straight for the target, going straight for the goal. That's exactly what you need to do. Step number 4 is map it out. Now this is where you create a strategy. This is where you create a plan. This is where you say, okay, I'm gonna do this like this, and here's how I'm gonna achieve this goal, and here's the things that I'm gonna do. All right, I'm gonna lose this weight. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna count my calories using this calorie app, and then I'm gonna go to the gym on these days, and I'm gonna sign up for this gym membership, and then I'm gonna get a partner to go with me to the gym, and then I'm gonna get an accountability partner, and maybe I'll hire a personal trainer. This is when you start to put the plan in place and put the pieces together and start to figure out exactly what you need to do to get to the next level. So you've gotta map it out. You've gotta get a plan. You've gotta get strategic. Now here's the thing about getting strategic. Understand this, that there will never be a plan that will be perfect from the first time you write it. I have never met a person that has written a plan and to a T, the exact plan was exactly what he needed to have success. Exactly what she needed to create the winning lifestyle that she wanted. I've never seen it, because it never happens. Because you can't predict the future. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how your life's going to turn. You don't know what's going to happen in the next year. So all you can do is make a plan that best suits what you're trying to go after. But then you're going to have to adjust the plan and go in there understanding that your plan does not have to be perfect. You just got to have something laid out. Once you have it laid out, then great. Now you have something to shoot for, and as things adjust, you adjust the plan. Super simple. And that's one thing I forgot to say about mapping it out and setting your plan. When you set your plan, what you want to do is you want to say, all right, now that I have my year goal, what do I need to do in the next 3 months to get to that year goal? What do I need to do in the next month to get to that 3-month goal? What do I need to do in this next week to get to that 1-month goal? What do I need to do in this day to get to this week goal? See, when you have it day by day and you look at it on a day-by-day basis, you realize one day is not going to kill you, but a week will put you off track. 2 weeks will take you off track. 3 weeks, 4 weeks will derail your goals. The 5th step is break it down into achievable milestones. This one is glorious. This one is key. So many people try to do the quantum leap effect. And I'm telling you, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to your goals. It's dangerous to your morale. It's dangerous to your faith. It will put doubt into your heart and allow you to let the voices of the enemy seep in and say you're not good enough and you don't have the skills and look where you are and look where you said you were going to be. I'm telling you, the quantum leap effect is dangerous to your success. Here's what I mean. The quantum leap is when there's 100 steps and you're at the bottom step because you're just starting this goal. And what you're saying is, yeah, I want to hit this goal this year, and the goal that I want to hit is this incredibly high goal. Now, this is where you have to understand dichotomies, which means you gotta believe in two oppositely opposing things at the same time. And here's this dichotomy that you have, is you wanna set goals that you feel like are realistic. But the truth of the matter is, there are no realistic goals. You know, realistic goals is silly. I love what Will Smith said. It wasn't realistic to bend a piece of metal and fly it across the ocean. That wasn't realistic. It wasn't realistic to flick a light switch and then the lights come on. That wasn't realistic. And the people who had that goal, they had to be a little unrealistic. Now, here's the thing. That's fine. But if you're going to be unrealistic, give yourself some time to achieve an unrealistic goal. Give yourself some time to achieve what other people will call impossible. Most people overestimate what they can do in a month and underestimate what they can do in a year. So I'm telling you, take these steps to get to the end result by the end of the year. Please, I'm telling you, please, please. Because this is where most people trip up. They're trying to jump from step 0 to step 100 in one swoop. Like they're Superman or Superwoman. Come on, be smart about it. Take a step. Maybe you take 2 or 3 steps. Maybe you're ambitious and you jump up 5 steps. Whatever you want to do, but don't try to jump up 100 steps, because here's what's going to happen. Let's just say you're trying to jump to step 60 in the first leap. The problem is, if you jump and you don't get to 60, you get to 7. You look at 7 and say, man, 7 is nowhere near 60. Nowhere near it. So I'm failing. And now you look at yourself as a failure. But what you don't realize is you just jumped 7 steps. That's more steps than you were on when you started. But most people won't understand that. And so what they look at it as a failure, and they think about themselves as a failure. So it takes them a whole month. It takes them 2 months to get over the fact that they failed and it didn't go well, and they have to re-energize themselves. These are problems that people have, and I'm going to go into this a lot more deeply, because this is a mindset thing that needs to be ironed out. I'm going to go into this a lot more deeply in my Make Your Mind an Asset online course. But that is a huge problem. Here is step number 6. Monthly resets. Now, monthly resets is super key. You got to take the time every single month before the next month starts. So if you're in December and you say, oh, I need to know what I need to do for January, then by December 29th, 28th, 27th, you should be planning what January is going to look like. So you take the time and reset and say, how did things go? Did things go well? Did I stick to my plan? Do I need to adjust my plan? This is where you measure your metrics. Did I earn the money I wanted to earn? Did I put away and save the money I wanted to save? Did I lose the weight that I wanted to lose? Like, this is where you start to look at the metrics. This is where you start to analyze and say, how can I do it better? How can I be better at what I'm doing, and reshape it and refocus it and reanalyze it to push it into the right direction? That's where the monthly resets happen. And they say most people never get past the first week of February when it comes to New Year's resolutions. It's because they don't do this one thing, which is easily reset. Just take a quick monthly reset and recalibrate, readjust, figure out what's going well, figure out what you can and can't do, and then readjust and move yourself back in the right direction. It's really that simple. Monthly resets. And number 7 is fail today, start tomorrow. What do I mean by this? If you're trying to lose weight, let's just say, and you go 2 strong weeks where you do everything right, you worked out, you ate right, you did everything, you meal prepped, you were accountable, you counted your calories, you did everything you were planning on doing. But what happened? A birthday party came up. Those birthday parties, right? They always come at the wrong time. A holiday came up. And you're like, oh man, I messed up. I ate like a pig. My stomach is bloated. I can't do anything. This is the worst. You know what most people do? You know what? I've already messed up. I'll mess up again tomorrow. You know what? I've already messed up. Whatever. I'm not going to hit this goal. And then they quit. What I had to learn when I, unfortunately, got up to 300 pounds, how did it happen? I do not know. I don't know what I was doing, right? But how did I lose 50 pounds? I dropped 50 pounds in a short amount of time, in like maybe 8 months or something like that. And the thing that I did was, I used to always quit. I used to always say, you know what? I messed up. I'll try it next time. Or I messed up, then I messed up. Like, oh, I'm already off track. I'm not gonna catch up. And I had these big goals, remember these quantum leap goals that I was trying to hit. I'm never gonna hit that, I might as well give up now. That's what I was doing. But what you need to do is say, I failed today, start again tomorrow. Forget about the failure, push it out of your mind and say, you know what? I'm gonna start again. I'm gonna start again from today. Today is gonna be a new day. I can put tomorrow in the bag and say that was a day that I didn't do. So here's what I encourage you. When you set those daily goals and you don't achieve it, don't worry. Okay, start over the next day. Just don't go multiple days, don't go weeks without going after your goal. But if a day passes and you don't hit it, okay. Because the great thing about it is you can start over and you can start a new momentum, you can start a new track, but don't give up. Just start over that next day. And so those 7 steps are the exact steps I used to take my life from where it was in 2012 to where it was in 2013 and beyond. And I've continued to refine that process and get better and get better and get better. And the same type of focus that I did for yearly goals, I started to do it for quarterly goals and monthly goals and even daily goals. And so I'm telling you, like I'm telling you, this is this is like the magic formula. This is like the magic bullet. And there's 2 things you want to be aware of. There's 2 things you want to watch out for. These are some of the biggest mistakes people make. The first one is that they think that it's going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to work out perfect. I know you want it to be smooth sailing to the top. It just doesn't work out that way. That's not the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is that it's going to take some work. You're going to have some ups. You're going to have some downs. But you're going to learn from the downs to get better at the ups. Don't allow the downs to bring you down. Just remember that they're going to be learning lessons in those downs. The things that you make mistakes on, they're learning lessons. It's not going to be perfect, but you can get better. The second thing is start now. And what I mean by start now, because it's December right now. It's December. You've got to start your New Year's resolutions early. Most people wait until January 1st to start. That's a bad mistake. It's something called the law of diminishing intent, meaning you intended to do it, but because you waited and you waited and you waited, you didn't actually do it. And so what I'm telling you is the minute you plan it, now that you're listening to my voice and you know you're going to get a head start on all of these other people, all of the other people who said I'm going to hit goals, I'm going to do it, I'm going to be the best, I'm going to make 2017 the best year ever. And you're going to hear a whole bunch of clever slogans. In 2017 is the year to dream, and 2017 is the time where I build my team, and 2017 is like all these different quotes and nice slogans, but most people are not going to achieve their goal. Because they waited so long. They had to build up to momentum. You're gonna run right past them because you spent a month getting prepared. You spent a month building momentum, and now you're jumping into the new year. You're running into the new year instead of walking into the new year and like trying to get your body warmed up. You don't have to do the warm up right because you've already done the warm up in December. Now you're just running in January, and your year is gonna be that 1 or 2 month difference. By the time it comes February, mid-February, they're gonna be in top form. You'll be in top form to January 1. So you'll be a whole month and a half ahead of people. So I'm telling you, you should absolutely start right now, today, the minute you plan. Because here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you a step of what you need to do the minute you stop watching this video. Here's what you need to do. You need to set a time in your calendar. Plan for 2 hours. 2 hours, sometime this week, where you plan your 2017. You spend 2 hours, you wipe everything off the calendar, you put 2 hours this week, and you say, I'm gonna spend this 2 hours planning what my year is gonna look like in 2017. And then the minute that day is over, you start to plan right away. Start it right away. The next day, the same day. Do it now. Do it now. I'm telling you, you will thank me. Do it now. Like me and my wife, we always get together and we always set goals, and we call it our 2017 planning party. We're having it on December 7th. That's a Wednesday, and we're gonna go out there and we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a nice meal, and we're going to plan 2017 to be the greatest year. Matter of fact, I'm in one of those modes. I haven't been back into that mode since then. So I've been living off of that work for 5 years, 4 years, whatever it's been, right? So now I'm in a decision-making mode again. Like there's something inside that's brewing that I want to get out. And so, now I'm in like this super hardcore decision-making mode where I've got some things that I want to achieve. And so 2017 is going to be our year, and I'm not going to just say it. I'm going to put the plan in place to make it happen. And that'll be the difference for me, that'll be the difference for you. And so I encourage you to do that. I'm so excited. If you know anybody that needs to hear this message, share this message with them, because this will change their life. It changed my life. It absolutely changed my life. I was just a ghetto kid from the hoods in New York City. I mean, nobody expected me to be here. People expected me to be a statistic. I was sleeping on my mother's couch. At the time, I was working at Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, how much more capable are you? How much better a situation are you when I could barely eat? I could barely survive, where I was so broke I had to coordinate my dinner plans around McDonald's dollar menu, right? So that's how bad the situation was. But you know what? I decided. I put those 7 steps in place and I started to change my life. And I'm telling you, you have the same opportunity. So share this with somebody that you feel like needs to hear this message. You know, like this, share this, comment, you know, give me your feedback. And what I want to hear from you in the comment section below, tell me what your goal is for 27. No, matter of fact, here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me what day is your planning party. What day is your 2017 planning party? Put it below. Commit to it, because that will change your life. Once again, it's Eugene Johnson. I thank you for your time. Remember, let no man steal your vision, because no man gave it to you. God bless. And what if? And if is incomplete faith. So many people have incomplete faith, but they talk about faith, but their faith is incomplete because they're constantly saying if. You gotta learn to turn your if into win. W-H-E-N.